Okay, welcome again because I had not started the recording. So if there is no recording, then you won't be able to see all these things again. We are doing this doing these sessions as part of our Azure Admins theme of the month, and Kiran is helping us with his helping us sharing his knowledge on PowerShell. He is one of the best resources we have in this group for learning about PowerShell, and then we can know about it from his own words itself.
Yeah, so let me share my screen. Yeah, welcome to the session Azure PowerShell getting started. And this is the fourth session, in the series. And my name is Kiran Patnaikane, and I'm working as a Cloud Ops Engineering Specialist. And this is my blog, kpatnaikane.com. And I'm also moderator and ICYMI editor at PowerShell.org. And you can follow me on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, and GitHub page as well. And this will be the session link. I will upload once all the sessions are completed, and I will add I'll add the recordings to this slide, and then I'll upload it. And after that, you will get these notes and all information and all in this link. Okay, kpatnaikane.com/azps. All right, so I hope you guys are practicing, because I'm seeing some of you guys are pinging me and asking me about the how it works and all. That's really make me do more and more. I'm really happy for that. Okay, so we have seen the installation of Azure PowerShell and how to connect to the subscriptions, and I think you guys might have practiced about the service principle and all, because in real-time scenarios you will use this service principle itself. Okay, and also there is another way of doing the certification as well, so that both are almost something similar. Like one is with the secret, the service principle, and other is with the certificate, but the purpose of both are to connect to Azure. Right, so and this one actually we have been doing it, that getting the module list of Azure and finding the commandlets within any of the module, and even further we can filter down using the verb and noun or even the name, right? So see, if you see that in Azure, I noticed these are all the available verbs. Suppose, I think I've already discussed in the second session or somewhere, especially, forget about the exam oriented. Normally, if you want to work on something, if you want to create any new resource, right, you have to use new keyword. Okay, and if you want to do or if you want to add a configuration, suppose you have a virtual network and you want to add a new subnet to it, so that you will you will use the add verb, right? So, and if you want to remove something, so remove means there will be remove a verb. So only the four commandlets predominantly that you need to remember is new, add, set, remove. Okay, these are all the predominantly they use, and mostly they are the commandlets. And most other, like edit and list, see, list could be the verb, list could be the alias for get, and set, and also edit could be the alias for set. So don't get confused when you see a commandlet where you can see the commandlets list here. Suppose if you see that get command hyphen module, let's see az.resource, and yeah, okay, here if you see, the first you will see the aliases of your commandlets, right? Suppose if you have if you see here, these are all the aliases available. That means these are all not the actual commandlets. They are the aliases of other commandlets. Correct. So this way that you need to understand. See, that doesn't mean that only four commandlets I mentioned means only four commandlets will be there. Don't think in that way. So the other commandlets also there, okay, but to initially to create, right, because this session is mainly focused for getting started. So in the getting started, what we aim is for to create something and to edit something, and after we create and we edit, if you want to add something new, we can add, and once we are all done, we can remove. Okay, this is a basic operations that we plan very beginning when we get started, right? So that is what I'm focusing on those for, but that doesn't mean only those are main. There are all other also there. They're also proper verb, okay, and the list that I've given here are available in the module, are available in the entire Azure commandlets. Right, so I think this I've already mentioned how to fetch the commandlets from the module, and even how to get the modules list, and also filter down the commandlets using the verb and using the noun and using the name with the wildcards. Right, also we discussed about the help, right, how we can get the help of any commandlet and all. Right, there are other parameters also available like detailed, full, and if you want to see the examples, you can see it, and you want to see the latest help, you can use -online. Right, and also we have seen the members of the object. Suppose if you run this commandlet, you will get some output. Once you get the output, what properties it has and what methods it has and all, if you want to see, you can pipe that to get member. This also we discussed on the other day. And along with that, we also discussed about the context. The context, that means what is the authentication? Like, what authentication is available in the current session, and how many subscriptions we have, and all the authentication details will be. It will fetch the authentication details from the local machine. And also it will, when you say that get -az context -list available, it will show all the available subscriptions, authenticated subscriptions in the current user session. Right, so I think till here we have seen, and now we will see that what are the subscriptions we have and how to switch between the subscriptions, right, and further how we can list the resources, and how to create, how to get the other information and all, we can see in today's session. I believe it will be little extended, but still I'll try to complete within the timeline. Okay, so if you start from here, so if you want to see what subscriptions we have, right, we can use get AZ subscription, and here I'm piping and only selecting the name and state. Right, so I have these many subscription. If you don't give the select name and pipe state, it will show all the subscription number, the subscription ID and tenant ID and everything will be displayed here. So just to avoid that, I'm piping that. Actually, this is one type of way, one way of you can filter the properties as well. Right, it has many properties, out of which if you only want to filter a few properties, you can do like this. You can use the select object, name and state, you can do it. So I have these 5 subscriptions, and now I want to see like which subscription I'm in right now. So to get that, you can use -get AZ context, and if you run this context, it will show all the it will show the current logged in or current set subscription. Right, so right now I'm in my prod subscription, and I don't want to do anything here. I want to move to my test subscription for this demo. So to go to the subscription, test subscription, you can do in these ways. Like, one is that, like, first you get the subscription by its name, and then pipe that to select AZ subscription. Okay, so get AZ subscription is a commandlet to fetch the subscription object or subscription details by name, subscription name, and the whole thing, if you pipe it to the select AZ subscription or set AZ subscription. Okay, the set AZ subscription is the this is also one commandlet. Suppose if you want to see what commandlet it is, get a command and give it. So it is the actual commandlet, right? And if you see this one, this will be the alias for the set AZ command. Get hyphen AZ, get a command, select AZ subscription. So this is the alias for that one, right? So that's the sometimes you don't need to confuse like why I used like this, sometimes with select and sometimes with set, and don't confuse. It could be the alias of some actual commandlet, right? So here you can use like this, or you can use like get AZ context name and context name, and you can say that select AZ context. So this way also you can set the subscription. And the other way is that set AZ context and give the subscription name. So it will set the subscription to the actual, like the desired subscription. So I'll use this one, set AZ context and subscription name and subscription, hyphen subscription name and subscription name. Right. So a set AZ context and subscription name. See, either one you can give. If you see here, I think one thing I need to correct. I think last session I said like it's control space, control alt or something I mentioned. But actually to list the available parameter list, you need to press control space bar. Okay, when you say control space bar, then it will show all the parameters. Or if any of the parameter has the auto completion fields, for that if you use control space, it will show the values as well. Okay, right? So if you see here, you can give the context, you can give the subscription, right? And even the parameters can also have the aliases. So aliases won't be displayed here. Only when you use with the tab completion, that time it will show. See here, if you see, it is not showing the subscription name, right? So that, but if you give the subscription and give the tab completion, it will show that subscription name, right? So like that, you need to understand. Okay, so set AZ context, and I want to connect to my test subscription. UBS. Okay, test subscription. Right now I'm in my test subscription, right? If you see that get AZ context, it will show the current subscription set to this current session. Right now I'm in test subscription. Now I want to see all the resources in my computer. Okay, in this subscription. For that, get AZ resource. Right, this commandlet will list all the resources available in my test subscription. Right, so there are many are there. These are all the resources that I have in my subscription. And even if you want to filter these resources by the resource ID, okay, suppose if I want to get this, all right, so I can get that resource by ID. All right, suppose if I want to get the resource by its name, resource by its name, there is a parameter called resource name, and you can give the, suppose I want to get Okay, Slack automation. Okay, suppose I want to get this resource by name. So this is the automation account I have in my current subscription, right? So this way that we can get. Also, we can get by its type. Suppose you want to see the virtual machines. Okay, a virtual machine type, if you want to see, there is a virtual machines available in this subscription. Right, this is a virtual machine, and if you give this name here, so here I have 3 virtual machines. All right, so 3 virtual machines it is showing now. So we can also filter the resources by the type of the resource. This way we can get it. Correct. So here I have given all the, even you can filter by using the tags. Suppose you want to filter some resources by its tag. This is the main reason we use the AZ resource. I mean, we don't really use, I mean, it all depends on the situation, but these are all will be used based on the situations and need. But this one, like I think every day we used to use, like I want to pull all the resources belongs to one particular department, or I want to get all the resources to one particular project. Like that we can fetch, like every day, like most of the teams they use by tags, right? This way that we can get all the resources and filter the resources. And to get all the, I think this is everybody they know, like to get all the resource groups, we have get AZ resource group. And one thing that you need to understand is that get AZ resource will not display any resource groups. Okay, it will only show the resources, it will not show the resource groups. To see all the resource groups in my current subscription, I can use get-AZ resource group. Okay, so there are many resource groups are available. Again, if I want to see only the resource group's name, I can use select-object or select. Both are same. Select is the alias for select object. Okay, so I want to get the resource group name. So these are all the resource groups I have in my current subscription, right? So, and after that we can have the get AZVM will give all the virtual machines in my current subscription. So right now I have these 3 virtual machines I have. Okay, and also you need to understand is that there is in PowerShell every commandlet will have a different view. Okay, so if I run this command just like this, it will only show these many properties. That doesn't mean that this VM has, the VMs have this much properties. It has many, but to list all the properties, okay, either you can okay, so now what it will do is all 3 VMs, all the properties of all three VMs it will list. So to avoid it, what I will do is, first of all, I will take all the VMs into one a variable called $VMs, and I'm getting all the VMs into those into this variable. And now I want to see the first VM. To see the first VM, you need to give something like this. So it's like we are giving the index of that array. So if it has multiple VMs, when get AZVM returns multiple VMs, $VMs will have them in the form of arrays. Okay, actually I'm not touching anything related to PowerShell. Probably while I'm discussing about the Azure PowerShell, where it is really required, I've also mentioned about the basics of the PowerShell as well. So try to understand that if at all, if you are new to PowerShell. And $VMs is the variable which contains the array of VMs. And if I want to fetch the first VM, I have to give the index within the angular brackets. Now, if I run this, I'll get my first VM. Okay, this first VM, I want to see all the information about this first VM. Then either you can use select object hyphen select object star or select star. Both are same. I'll use select only. Select star will list all the properties available in the VM, I mean of that VM. So here you have only seen these many properties in the first view, but to see all the properties, right, here we have only location, size, and what type of operating system and nickname, provisioning state. But other than that, we have a storage profile and we have a hardware profile. I mean, hardware profile is nothing but VM size. Okay, and the network profile, all of those things are available here. Correct. So this is the way that you can see all the properties. And also there is another way called format list. So format list will also show the same. Correct. So it will list all the properties of the VM. Correct. And I want to see the VM's running status. Right, for that get -az VM. If you run only this, you will get actual VMs, but if you want to see the running status, you need to give -status. So -status will pull the information of the power state, is I mean the running state. So the two resources are not, I mean two virtual machines are not running and one VM is running. Right, so this way that we can see the VM's running status. And suppose now I'm using only get-az VM to get all the VMs running or deployed in the current subscription. But if I want to see only some, I mean like only demo resource group VM, or only the name, I mean one particular name of the VM. So for that, what you can do is -resource group name. Suppose I want to check the VM in the demo resource group. Okay, the name will be my name, my VM. So if you run this, you will get the VM information. And to see that particular VM status, you can use -status so that you will see the information about the VM status. See here, when you don't give any other parameters, it just lists this view. I mean, it just showed the information in this format or in this view. But whereas if you filter by using the name and the resource group, like even further you filtered, it has changed the view. It is by default, it is showing in the list view and added a few more fuels. Actually, these are all not the actual, I mean, or the final properties. Even if you use further with the select star or format list, you will see all the information again, right? Even here, if you use status, these are all the latest information, right? So actually earlier version, this was not like this. In the earlier version also, it was something like this. Okay, I think it was in the last couple of versions they released, like to list if it is a single object. I mean, if it is a single VM you selected, it has to list all the information. So that is the reason, especially when you are working in your environment with some sort of automations and all, you need to ensure like how the commandlet returns the values, and based on that you need to script your, you need to write your code in your scripts. Okay, there is a lot of chances that Microsoft can change some fields or some views and all. So you need to be very careful when especially you install the latest version of what you are currently using. So with that, let's create some resources. Right, anyhow, it's all the same. You can go through this. This way we can get the storage accounts. Okay, if you don't pass any parameters, right, you will see all the storage accounts. And if you pass some name, then you will only get that particular name of that resource. Suppose I'm using storage account, so I'll get that storage account, which is applicable to same the virtual network. Also, it is something similar. Some you need to pass the resource group, and some you don't need. Right? There are a lot of syntaxes available, right? And based on the parameter set, the combination of parameter set, the output will depend on the combination of parameter sets. Right here, there's no parameters. You will get every thing in that subscription, every virtual network in that subscription. And if you use a resource group name, it will get the particular VNet from that particular resource group. Same, it is also same. The NSG virtual network, interface NIC and all. Okay, here you see these are all get command. Let's see when I think maybe I missed, or I don't know. All the get commandlets will have some kind of can have parameters or cannot have the parameter. They don't require any parameters to fetch the information, because if you don't give the parameters, that means the get parameter will get everything in that subscription. Or if you use some parameters, you will get some it will filter based on the parameter set. Right? So now I want to list all the locations where Azure located or Azure providing the services. So for that, get AZ location, right? Get -AZ locations. I think it's better to copy paste. Right, so get AZ locations, and for each object, okay, this I have not yet discussed, so I'll move this to little later. So I'll use select only. Select location. So these are all the actual locations, and if you want to see the location name, you can use the display name, comma, so that it will display the name of the location or the location. Right, these are all the locations where Azure is providing its services. So based on your requirement, you can choose any of these locations. So you don't need to worry about which location. There are many locations. How could I remember and all? You don't need to remember. Use this commandlet to fetch all the information. Okay, so this way that we can fetch the locations. And also, if you want to deploy a VM, see, my rest of the examples are based on to get the information to create a new VM, because the final goal of this session or of this entire series of the session is to create a virtual machine using the Azure PowerShell. So from now, what are the examples that I'm showing are mainly focusing about to get the information about our VM. To be created VM. So I've seen that locations, and now I want to see the VM size, like what VM sizes are available. So one thing here you should understand is that not all locations will support all the VM sizes. So if you have set your location to South India, and some of the VM sizes are not supported when compared with the other locations. Suppose if you compared with the West US, there the more sizes will be available than South India or East India, or some of the sizes where available may not be available in some other region. So you should get the VM sizes based on the location that you want to deploy. Okay, so now I want to fetch all the VM sizes available in South India. So these are all the VM sizes of available in South India. Right, so you can look into and you can find out like which VM you want to go with. I think like many, they will go with normal deployment, they will go with the D series. So you can anyhow it is given in the alphabetical order. You can go with the D size VM. So you can filter like which one you want, and you can choose and you can get that name and use it in your deployment, right? There are many. And also, once we identified the location, in which location we want to create a VM, and also identified the VM size, right? I want to get the image of the VM, I mean of the OS, right? So how would we come to know, like, see, it's not like how we create the VM in the portal is I mean, you will use those kind of thing, but in the GUI portal, everything it is auto populated. You don't need to give anything there, right? You don't need to select any, I mean, you don't actually you don't need to enter anything there. It's by default, it will be there. You just need to click and select there. But here you need to give a specific name for that. Okay, suppose if you want to create a VM, you need to give like which VM I want to create and which version of the operating system you have to give. If you go to the marketplace, there are many publishers will be there, and each publisher, I mean publishers as in vendor, right? So Microsoft is a cloud where it can host any sort of service there, but those services are not mandatorily from the Azure, I mean from the Microsoft itself. It can be from the other vendors as well. Only Microsoft products, yes, they can give directly, but other, they have to support the cloud enabled softwares as well. So suppose if I'm only aiming for the Microsoft and Ubuntu providers, so Microsoft servers will be the publisher will be Microsoft Windows Server, and the Ubuntu Linux will be Canonical, I mean the providers, right? Again, the providers are also based on the locations. Not all providers, all publishers or providers will give their all services in all the locations. So there is a some locations will not have those kind of services, so that you need to be in mind. I mean, you have to be in the mind. So now I'll take this one, and I want to see what are all the, I mean, who are all the publishers are available in the West US location. Right. So these are all, there are many, I think hundreds, even hundred, I mean more than hundreds, there are many. Okay. So yeah, there are many are there. See here, you should give location for sure, because even though it is a get commandlet, if you don't give some of the mandatory parameters, it will not display, because it is not generic. It is based on the location. Some locations can have some of the vendors, and some locations will have the different kind of vendors. But it's not like one location will have some vendors means other location will not have. It's not like that. Even though even though one location has some set of the providers, other location can also have the same set of providers. Maybe one or two providers will be more or less in those locations. See here, if I want to use South India location, so I'll get all the providers from the South India locations. So here actually I've selected Azure, I mean the Windows VM. The Windows VM provider will be Microsoft Windows Server, right? So the location and to see the offerings from that publisher, right? So like suppose if you take Microsoft, so Microsoft is providing the Windows servers, and Microsoft is providing the SQL Server, and Microsoft is providing the Visual Studio and development servers, or even the desktop version of the Windows they give and all. So there are a lot of things are there. So each publisher will show some of the offerings, like I mean what type of, if it is a Windows server, I mean Windows side, I'm looking for the Windows server offerings. Suppose if it is from the Linux Ubuntu side, I'll get Ubuntu server or Ubuntu core or some. These only examples that I took. There are many are there in the offerings. So again, from that offerings, I should get the SKU. I mean SKU as in like the version of. Suppose I want to install 18.4 Linux. Okay, so I mean, if it is a Ubuntu server, if I want to deploy, or if I want to install Windows, there is a Windows version like 2016 data center or 2019 data center, 2012 standard, something like that. It will show the addition of the operating system in Windows side. Right, so now if I want to fetch the information about here, I'll use Windows Server only. The publisher Windows, I mean the Microsoft Windows Server. Microsoft Windows Server, so that it will show all the offerings from the Microsoft Server publisher. Right, so there are many. Say I have Windows 10 offerings I have, and I have some, I think few of the previews also there, but I'm mainly focusing on the Windows Server for this demo. So now anyway, even in the Windows Server also, there are many other versions or the SKUs nothing but like addition of the operating system. You can consider in that way. Okay, so I'll get this, and the publisher name will be Microsoft Windows Server, right? And the offer would be Windows Server. So if I get it, so these are all the available SKUs or available editions for the Windows Server, right? I think these are all still there. 2008 and 2012, 16, 19 we have, and there are even core versions with a small disk and with a normal thing, and even some if you see G2 means they're all like generation 2 VMs. All right, these are all the actual providers with the reference SKUs. Right, so I'll pick 2019 data center. Right, so I mean when I want to create, I can use like that. So this way that you can fetch your required information, like if at all if you want to create something, or because you don't need to remember all of those things, like it is based on actually this list will keep on updated by the Microsoft whenever they release new versions or new additions and new publisher they added. This list will be changed. So if you like before you deploying, just come here and have a look and ensure that it is there, and then go for the deployment. Right, so this is the till here we can fetch. And now if you want to fetch the NSG, see, some are not like, there is no direct commandlets. So far we have seen all the direct commandlets, but some you don't get the commandlets like that. Some you have to first get entire object and then fetch the information. Suppose if you want to get the NSG rules, right? If you have any NSG and those NSG rules that you want to fetch, right? You can do like this. First you get all the, that NSG rules of any particular NSG. Right, so suppose if you have this NSG with the with the name of NSG1 in the security-RG resource group, first of all you need to get that, and then first of all you need to get that information into one variable, and then use the dot notation. So dot notation, I think I already discussed. It is not like every object will have the properties. So with that variable with the dot and give that property name is called dot notation, and you will get the required information, right? If anything is there in that property. So to get the list of the security rules, this is the way that you can get, right? Or there is another commandlet is there. Again, this command, this is not again a single or direct commandlet. Okay, this is something like this. You need to first get the resource group, and you can add, you can get, you can pipe that to get AZ network security rule config. Okay, this is a sub commandlet of this actual commandlet. I mean, it's a commandlet. Basically, everything is a commandlet, but this you can use. This commandlet can take the input by pipeline. Pipeline as in like whatever the output that it comes from this commandlet will go into this commandlet. Or you can use, you can give the pipeline. I mean, you can give the direct, network security group here. Like you have to fetch here. First of all, you have to get the NSG here, and then you have to enter that. You have to pass that thing to NSG. Pass that NSG object to get AZ network security rule config. Okay, either of these way you can do it. Like you can fetch it and immediately pipe that to the get AZ network security rule config, or you can directly get that into the variable and give into the parameter with for the a parameter of the get AZ network security rule config. Right, this way that we can get, not all commandlets we can directly get it. Like there is no commandlet like get AZ network security group rules and all. It's not like that. You have to use 2 or 3 lines of code here, like 2 or 3 commandlets in some cases. Right, so here also I think I already showed you how to fetch the information of the VM. And this example is showing that how to fetch the public IP address of a Azure VM. So for that, first of all, you need to fetch one VM of for which you want to fetch the public IP, and the VM, if you run it, it will show the output something like this. And see, the VM is not like complete information. It will not have in the VM. The sum of the information, it has the information with a reference. Suppose if I want to see all the network related, I don't get any information, anything related to network in the VM. Okay, even, not only network, even the NSG information also, it will not be available in the VM object. Like with the get VM, whatever I get, I don't get it. I can only get the NIC ID. Because if you talk about the network, or if you talk about the NSG, all are related to NIC. It will be connected to NIC, and that NIC ID will be associated with the virtual network subnet or NSG. It is at like it will be associated to the NSG. Right, so that way we can fetch. Now to get the public IP, I've get the VM object. And then from that VM object, I will get the NIC ID. Okay, even it will not have the NIC ID, NIC object also. It will only have that NIC reference. Okay, this way that I can get the NIC reference in the VM, whatever I get here, right? The VM and the network profile, right? So if you see here that VM object has the network profile property. And in that, there is one more property called network interfaces. Again, if you have a multiple network interfaces, then you have to use array indexes, like I showed you bit before, that you need to use Angular brackets and then give the index to identify that particular NIC. Since my VM has only one, so I just took the direct name and then followed by ID. So this way I get the VM ID, the NIC ID. So when once I get the NIC ID, I have to pass that NIC ID to my get AZ network interface and resource ID. So this will be the resource ID that I get it from the VM object, and that I am passing it to get AZ network interface to get the VM NIC, actual NIC object. So if I have that actual NIC object, it will have the IP configuration. So this way that you will get the private IP, right? Suppose if you are using I mean, any private IP like 10 dot or 20 dot or something like that, the local or 192 dot, all are the local IP, the private IPs that you use, that you can get the private IPs, right? And to get the public IP again, so the NIC again will have the reference of the public IP ID. Okay, so the public IP ID, you will get it like this, right? This way, that you will get the, see, this is bit complicated. See why I am showing you this. Not all the information that we want in Azure, you cannot get it with a single commandlet. I mean, like, I'm not talking about everything. Few we can get it just like that, but few will get something like this. This is, I mean, this will have set of commandlets and set of steps where you should get reference from one and then use that to get something else. And again, from there, you need to go to the some other commandlet and get whatever you want. So this has a set of steps to get what you want. So just, it all depends on the practice. You don't need to worry about like how, I mean, if you are beginner, you don't need to worry. These are all interrelated. Once you get any object, you use get a member and see all the properties and use all the properties, try to fetch the information and see what information it has. And again, you can use the dot notation to see inside that when a property, are there any other properties are there, and all. You can go and see if at all if it is useful in your scripts. Right, so this way I can get the public IP ID, and then with that public IP ID, I don't have like how I get the get AZ network interface by using the resource ID. That kind of option is not available with the get AZ public IP address. Right, so I'm that is the reason I'm using get AZ resource. So with the get AZ resource, I can get the I mean, by its the resource ID, and with that pip, I can go to the properties and I can see all the I mean the public IP address of that VM. So this way that I can get the public IP address. Right. So actually, if you visit my blog, I think I have written a blog post on this. For now, you can go and refer that how to fetch the public, or you can see in my GitHub page. All right, so if you go to the repositories and PowerShell and go to Azure, there are a couple of scripts that I have written. Get AZ, yeah, I think this one. Yeah, this one. So you can get the public IP address of the VM. You can get it. So just have a look. I'll upload this one by tomorrow as soon as Hatin upload all the videos to get to I mean to YouTube. I can reference that here and then I can use it in and I can publish that. Correct. So this way that I can get it here. Yeah, I think this I will talk about tomorrow, because I need to give the formatting type. I should tell you about how to select the properties and how to filter the properties and how to format the output and all. I think it will take little time. So I will talk about all of these things tomorrow. And I think now I can take the questions. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Kiran. So you can ask your questions. So I think a few questions were there in Facebook. So one question is, does it? I think it means. So do I need to learn Azure PowerShell and CLI both to be a good administrator, or be expert in PowerShell is enough?
Yeah, actually, it is very interesting. Like today, I've seen a healthy discussion happen between two MVPs in Twitter, where they're talking about like probably. I mean, why I mentioned like healthy, conversation means they want to throw questions where the other person can give you a clear-cut information about why we have to use PowerShell, or why not why we have to use Azure CLI and all. So yeah, if you want to be a perfect or proper proper Azure administrator, it's ideally good, and based on your situation and based on your tools in your environment, what tools you are using and what environments you are using, it all depends again. So it's like personal preferences. If you already know about, but one advantage with the PowerShell is that it has a default auto completion, and the syntax and all, you don't need to type to some extent, like 60% or 70% of the code you don't need to type when you are writing the scripts if it is a PowerShell. But if you are using the AZCLI or any other tools, you need to type, I believe, because even the other CLI tools also there, and it has also, because after I was discussing on the first day session, other CLI tools also there where it supports the auto completion, but not to an extent of Azure PowerShell. Not to an extent of PowerShell gives that flexibility. So you need to enable that separately for the other CLI commandlets, or Azure CLI commandlets. So when you talk about the PowerShell, if you are a Windows guy and you are also operating, or you are also managing the other than cloud on the Windows side, probably I suggest you to go with the PowerShell. But that doesn't mean that AZCLI is not useful. I'm using both AZCLI, and even better than Azure PowerShell, I use AZCLI most of the time. So if I'm working on Linux side and Linux platform side, I'll use the Azure CLI as well. Both has goods, bad. Bad as in like disadvantages sometimes. It's all personal preferences, in my opinion. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. So one question, a noob question. When do we find such a requirement where we have to find VM properties through CLI or PowerShell, even when we have ARM?
I'm sorry, I did not understand.
Okay. So when do we find a requirement where we have to find VM properties through CLI or PowerShell when we already have ARM?
No, ARM, like you suppose you want to fetch the information of particular VM, right? Like suppose you want to fetch 2 or 3 VMs are there, and you want to see the information. So in that case, you feel like comfortable by using the CLI commandlets than ARM templates. You need, if it is a ARM templates, you need to write that code. I'm not sure like everybody will write ARM templates for fetching the information and all. That is mainly useful for the deployments. Okay, if you have a bulk deployments and all, it is useful. But fetching the information and configuring the things, and suppose you want to stop 100 VMs or 10 VMs. Okay, forget about that 100. And if you want to manage the 10 VMs, so it's easy, right? If you use get-azvm dollar, in a pipe to stop -azvm. So that's more easy. Even if it is Azure CLI also, it's a single line. But if it is a ARM templates or Terraform, it's like I don't know how to do it because I did not do that part. But that's a bit difficult when compared with CLI tools.
Okay, so yeah, one question in Zoom. So it is not actually a question; it is a challenge he's facing. So Abhilash is telling. So since this because of the requirement for credit card, so he's not able to create a Azure account. So is there any Azure PowerShell emulator to practice these things? So
you can go to this one. What do you say? Documentation page. Right, let me take you there. I don't think there you need to have any subscription and all. Let me, if you go here and go to any of this place, or go to learn dot, because I remember that there are some sandboxes. Every individual user can have up to 10 sandboxes in their I don't know, I have some problem with my browser. But for sure, I'm sure that you can launch any of the Azure CLI documentation or Azure PowerShell documentation, and you can launch the Cloud Shell by using the try it now. And definitely you can have your Cloud Shell ready. You don't need to have any subscription, or you need to give your credit card or anything there. You can access it.
Okay,
Yeah.
Abhilash, I hope that helps. So Srinivas has asked, is it required to learn PowerShell or Terraform if we want to be a Azure solution architect?
Yes, I mean, it's not like Terraform. See, one thing that you need to understand, CLI tools will definitely make your life easy in your day-to-day work. Okay, if you learn ARM templates, or if you know the Terraform, you can't quickly run those things against your Azure. They are the main purpose of IAC tools to have a consistent and idempotent deployments. Okay, they are not mainly focused for the day-to-day administration. Okay, for administering the things, you should have either you can go to the portal and do it, but in the portal you can only do it only one task at a time. You can't do multiple tasks, right? If you are using the GUI portal, but using the CLI, you can manage multiple portals with less code, and you can, even on the production side also, you can quickly fetch the information of your own choice. But the same, if you want to do it with the ARM templates, I don't think it is possible. For administration purpose, they are not the suggestible tools. And which one you want to learn, in the sense that depends on your interest, and that depends on your current organization needs. See, Terraform may not all the all the departments or all the organization will use Terraform. Like, they mainly focus on where they have multiple cloud environments. They have the deployments, those they predominantly go. That doesn't mean that other vendors, only if they are using Azure, they don't go. Means it's not like that, they will also use it, right? So even the ARM templates means that's by default and natively available in the Azure. So many organizations still using the ARM templates. So that all depends on the need and interest.
Yeah, especially if you are a Azure DevOps engineer, not just Azure DevOps engineer. If you are a DevOps engineer, then generally Terraform may make sense. I said may because, again, as Kiran said, it is a company's preference. So some people, some companies may prefer to use a Terraform so that they can use it uh, across different cloud platforms such as AWS and Azure. But so some companies might prefer to use ARM templates in Azure and CloudFormation in AWS. So it all boils down to your company's preference. But if you are going to be a DevOps engineer, and then if you are going to put your resume in any job portal, then definitely having knowledge of Terraform will definitely help. And if it is a Azure administrator or even DevOps role, knowledge of PowerShell also can make your resume stand out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because personally, I was trying to hire somebody with Terraform knowledge, and then it was very difficult to get. It is very difficult to get DevOps engineers itself who has a good command on all the DevOps practices that can be used on cloud. So those things like PowerShell, Terraform, and all, based on the job role, it might be important, and the more you know, the better you'll have opportunities.
Yeah.
Okay, Abhilash has a question related to that. Trying out. Hi Kiran. Microsoft Docs. When I click on try it option, it says no valid subscriptions found. You need an active Azure subscription to use Azure Cloud Shell. Create an Azure subscription.
I think go to learn.microsoft.com because I've seen maybe after the session you can ping me anywhere. So I think I've seen. Let me give it a try once, and I'll give you the link where. I mean, or else you try it out in the learn.microsoft.com. You will get it for sure, I believe.
Okay, so we can try it out and then comment below the live video itself later after this session. Maybe. Yeah. So are there any more questions in Facebook? Okay. Yeah. So, sir, please share your blog link. Is there any announcement of such session somewhere? Yeah, blog. Blog link definitely. Kiran will share again in the live post post this session. And so to anybody who is attending these sessions, so we have live sessions regularly as part of group connects. So currently it is happening in 2 time zones, but we will add more slots for different time zones. So currently it is happening 8 p.m. IST or 7:30 a.m. PST on weekdays, and on 8 a.m. IST or 7:30 p.m. PST on weekends. But so we are planning to have more slots so that more people can come and then take sessions. So we want to make this group more interactive and a place for you to learn and grow together. Okay, so there is a saying that nobody in this world can learn everything from their own mistakes. So you have to learn a bit from others' mistakes also, right?
Yeah.
So people generally says a failure is the stepping stone to success, but so this is a continuation to that saying that says you cannot learn everything from your own mistakes, so you have to learn from others' mistakes also. So for that to happen, people should come forward and then take sessions to share their mistakes, and then others should come and encourage them to learn from their mistakes. Then only we can all learn together and then grow together. Okay, so so Atwal Singh Satyendra is asking, is it for Azure admin? So I am assuming this course. So we currently have a theme of the month. So every month we will have one primary theme, and so there will be other sessions also. But one primary theme, the primary theme for this month is Azure admin. Last month it was AZ 900. So we completed the whole syllabus for AZ 900. We practiced together here, and everybody who attended it and then wrote the exam has passed it with a very good score. So this month we are focusing on Azure admin. So you will see many sessions around Azure admin certification, and around the actual working knowledge related to becoming an Azure admin. So this is part of that. So to become a good Azure admin, good hands-on experience with PowerShell will definitely help. So hope it answers your question. Okay, so I think there are no more questions. So one quick check. Anybody who has joined the Zoom meeting here has passed the exam recently, because we are planning to bring you to a stage, and you can share a few words about your experience about passing the certification. So if you are in Facebook, then we don't currently have a way to bring you to stage. You can always join the live session. It is always free. Okay, so I am assuming nobody has raised hand, and so nobody has. Okay, there is a hand. Okay, yeah, Abhilash, you can talk. Okay, one second.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just checked on Microsoft Learn that thing. There you have this module wherein they teach you about the Azure CLI. So in that itself, they are actually in the module itself, the objectives, and they have mentioned that they install the Azure CLI on Linux, Mac OS X, and connect to the second is connect to the Azure subscription using Azure CLI, and then create Azure resources using Azure CLI. So it basically means that you need an Azure subscription.
Then that may be the case. I have not explored that option yet.
I
So
just found this.
Yeah, I think no. Let me check because I've seen somewhere. I'm not able to recollect now. Where for Microsoft Learning, they'll give the sandboxes for you, where you don't need to have any subscription for your learning. Let me check, and probably once I've gone through, I can share in that Facebook live recording. I mean that recording.
That should be great if it really works out.
okay,
Yeah.
Srinivas has mentioned. This is from Ignite Challenges, the sandbox option.
See, Ignite is all Ignite. The challenges are also from the Microsoft Learn itself. They don't. I mean, they did not create a new platform for you to learn. It's they're all grouped together some of the topics and given you as a challenge. They're also from the Microsoft Learn. If it is there in the Ignite, that should also be there in the Learn as well.
Okay, so this is a good thing to explore. Anyway, like so, some of us will explore and then share in the group because yeah, having a credit card may not be a feasible option for everybody. So we'll definitely explore that and share. So thank you all. See you all tomorrow, same time. And this Saturday, we will discuss more about our Azure Projects Initiative and then what are the prerequisites so that you can learn and then you can come and then you can join. So it is not like you come and then join and learn on the go. So you will at least need to have basic Azure knowledge that is achievable through just by going through the group connects. Okay, so then only it will be effective because we want to spend more time in discussing about the project and actually building it rather than discussing about the basics. So the basics, whatever we have covered, you are assumed to know it and then come for the session. Okay, so that is it. Thanks again, Kiran, for spending your evening again with us. Let us meet again tomorrow and then take this forward.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye bye all.
Bye.